Jason Kenney is the newly minted Secretary of State for Multiculturalism. Thank you for having a chat with Blogger and the Blogging Tours today.
Good to be here.
Yeah. So how has this government in the last 11 months reached out to new Canadians?
Well, first of all, the Conservative Party and the Conservative movement in this country has a pretty good track record at reaching out and reflecting the diversity of this country. After all, in our caucus we have the first Muslim elected to Parliament, the first Hindu elected to Parliament, the first Chinese Canadian to be full-tier minister was a member of this cabinet, the first black Canadian MP and minister were in a Conservative cabinet, the first Chinese Canadian MP was in a Conservative caucus. The government, the Multiculturalism Act was actually adopted by the Mulroney government. The highest levels of immigration have been under Conservative governments. That is to say, I think we have a good track record, and in the last 11 months we've built on that. We've done it by working very hard to reflect the mainstream values of Canadians, including new Canadians. And you know, the thing about most new Canadians is that they are naturally, profoundly conservative, deeply entrepreneurial, risk takers, business people who work extraordinarily hard to get ahead, who don't appreciate high taxes and red tape. We have people who have deep respect for traditional values and institutions like the family, like religious faith, and like basic democratic values, and so there's a natural alliance between the Conservative Party and generally speaking most new Canadians. There are certain issues where we've made a particular effort to reach out in the past year, including our historic redress of the Chinese head tax. Last June, the Prime Minister's apology in the House for a series of overtly racist policies that have been adopted targeting Chinese Canadians and immigrants of Chinese origin. The Liberals did nothing on this file for 13 years except refuse to apologize, refuse redress, refuse to acknowledge the issue. We offered full redress. We brought about a full judicial inquiry into the Air India fiasco, which is of deep concern to many in the Indo-Canadian community. And we've addressed issues of concern to immigrants in general, cutting in half the rate of landing fee, creating the funding for an agency for foreign credential recognition, increasing funding for settlement funding and integration. So these are all concrete points of evidence that we're responsive to the concerns of new Canadians.
Now, I feel that with the appointment of Diane Finley in immigration, Monty Solberg, a direct flip to human resources and foreign credential recognition, and you being appointed to Secretary of State of Multiculturalism, I feel that there's a new pronged approach to reaching out to new Canadians by this government. Is that something that the Prime Minister is pursuing politically?
Yes, absolutely, but I wouldn't say it's so new. He gave me this assignment as his parliamentary secretary, which I think was pretty unprecedented to have somebody close to the Prime Minister. Its principal task was outreach to cultural communities. We actually are probably the first PMO to actually have our own community outreach function right in the center of government at the PMO. And you see that in the Prime Minister's attendance at events. You're more likely to see Stephen Harper at a cultural community event than at a Bay Street event. And we're making a very deliberate point. In fact, just this week he'll be attending a major ethnic community event in Mississauga with our new MP Wajid Khan.
Okay, well, I guess I'm going to ask you about Wajid Khan. Of course, that was big news last week. I think it was CTV News that reported that you had a big hand in clearing the path for Khan to come over to the Conservative Party. Would you care to comment on that?
Wajid's been a friend of mine for a long time. I think he's really a conservative at heart and always has been. Like many conservatives at heart, and many new Canadians, he ended up in the Liberal Party. But I think he realized, first of all, I mean, he just came to us following the terror arrests in June in Toronto and offered his help. He said he wanted to do what he could to help be a bridge with the Muslim communities, to help deal with extremist elements and help the Muslim communities deal with potential backlash. And he was very constructive, provided great leadership. That led into his role as the liaison on Central Asian and Middle Eastern affairs. And working with us and watching as Prime Minister up close, he came to admire more and more Stephen Harper, his leadership style. And I think he's come home to his true political family that most closely resembles his values. This is a guy who's voted consistently for traditional marriage, who supports the mission in Afghanistan, supports a strong defense, is an entrepreneur, a successful entrepreneur who supports pro-business, pro-entrepreneurial economic policy, pro-market policies. So he's a natural conservative, and I can tell you, I did work closely with him over the past 8 months, and he's thrilled with the decision that he's made. He's really excited, and he's doing everything he can to help build a beachhead for the Conservative Party and government in Mississauga, Peel region, and the broader GTA. Okay,
now Wajid Khan was a Liberal, and many new Canadians did come in under the Liberal banner,
right.
Especially in immigration. When they would come to this country, that a lot of them would attribute their landing to the Liberal Party. How would you differentiate this government's approach with reaching out to new Canadians versus like previous Liberal governments under ministers like Joe Volpe?
Look, the main difference is that we don't take these communities or individuals for granted. We want to earn their support, and we believe we want new Canadians to align their values with their votes. We don't hand out immigration permits or policy on the basis of a kind of crude bartering or an expectation of fetal political loyalty. This is the way the Liberal Party has operated for far too long, very cynically exploiting the hopes and aspirations of new Canadians, often through immigration policy, to monopolize and dominate the support, cultivating their own pro-Liberal leadership in various communities, handing out grants and contributions in a very partisan fashion. This has been the Liberal model for building a kind of Tammany Hall style structure. Tammany Hall was the Democratic Party's system of effectively getting the support of new immigrants right off the boat in Boston and New York in the 19th century, and running a kind of corrupt, old-style political, ethnic brokerage kind of politics. We want to move we have a totally different paradigm about our political relations with new Canadians. We believe that new Canadians deserve the same kind of respect and treatment as citizens of this country as old stock Canadians, as people, second, third, fourth, fifth generation Canadians. We believe that what they want, like everyone, are clean and honest government, accountable and transparent government, economic opportunity for themselves and their kids, quality basic social services for those who can't help themselves, and a Canada that's true to its values in the international stage. We're delivering those things, but also in a way that's particularly sensitive to the unique concerns of new Canadians, because many people arrive here, they're working hard, and they need a particular kind of assistance. That might be English as a second language, integration services, what have you. And so we're trying to be sensitive to those concerns as well.
Okay, well, I just wanted to thank you for taking the time to have a chat with me today. And congratulations on your new appointment.
Thanks, my pleasure. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
And congratulations on all the great work on Blogging Tories.
Oh, thank you.